Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Tanya Love Show. I hope everyone is enjoying their weekend. It is very nice and beautiful and sunny where I'm at in the Northwest, and I hope it's lovely where you all are. Today I had a yoga teacher training, and it was really awesome because one of the students had injured her neck, and she just had a lot of tension in her upper shoulders and her neck, and so I was just really listening to Spirit guide that class, and we ended up having like 3 hours of restorative yoga and a lot of like heart opening stretches and really releasing tension in the upper back. And it was beautiful because afterwards she was just like, oh, I just feel so much better. This is just what I needed. And she was telling me how she's in this part of her life where she's really learning to honor her own needs, what she really needs. If she needs quiet time, if she needs to move more gently and slowly compared to people in her life that may be very busy. And, she's a mom, she got a young kid, and like, how do you balance all that? And so we got into this discussion about that, and she's been someone that I've been working with for a while, and I feel already this week, I felt Spirit inspiring me to speak today on self-love. And we're going to get into different aspects of that. But today when I was working with her in that yoga training, I just felt like there was so much confirmation of how much this is needed. And maybe moms and dads out there that, work hard and they just feel like they're doing all they can to pay their bills and just to get things done on time. And you can get caught up sometimes in this busyness where we end up being exhausted. And sometimes what we really need, instead of being more busy, especially if we're like in fear of financial support, let's say, rather than get really busy, it would be much more powerful to go into a place of stillness and presence with your source energy and connect to the energy of abundance, connect to that feeling of ease in your body, and allow everything vibrationally to come to you in a more gentle and powerful way. And so this is something I practice in my life, and I love teaching various workshop topics that always come right back to laws of attraction. And, when we really realize that we're vibrational beings, if we're putting out this, there's not enough time, I'm always busy, no one respects me, this energy we put out, then that's what we're going to keep drawing into our movie, and we're going to keep having new characters show up to play out those parts. And so today I'm going to touch back and forth on different topics connected to self-love. And I feel like if we can keep it simple in anything you're going through, those of you that are tuning in, thank you, first of all, for joining us live. I really appreciate you connecting with us live. But if we can all be very simple instead of go into the complexity of our ego, it just loves to make everything complex and like complicated instead of just look for the simplicity. And simplicity is always guiding us to look at the vibrational alignment. And I was telling one of my students in my yoga teacher training, they were like, well, what's so important about spiritual alignment? How do you know if you're spiritually aligned or if you're not? And I look at it this way. If I have something off in my hip and I can't put pressure on my knee, I have to go to the chiropractor and they're going to crack my body and try to get my spine back into an alignment. So physically, there's a lot of pain I'm going to feel in my body when something's tweaked and it's out of alignment. If we look at machinery, we have a car and it's out of alignment. We might be riding on the freeway and we let our hands off the steering wheel and it's going to take us right off the road because it's out of alignment and it needs an alignment so it can stay on the path. It can stay in that direction where it should be going instead of just going to the left or the right or whatever. And so this is very physical ways we can see the importance of alignment. When we look into spiritual alignment, it doesn't mean a rigid dogma, like I have to go find the way, the religion, or the spiritual group, or, this certain healing method that is the way. It's more about your alignment with your source. So your way, whatever is benefiting you in this now moment, whatever is helping each of us individually connect with our source and feel our confidence. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out with ease. I feel trust. I feel love and support, then that would be a beneficial way for you. But your way, let's say that you really feel that eating vegetarian diet is so important for you and it's helped your body feel better and you just feel like you're thriving, your cells are thriving, you drink green smoothies all the time, and I love them, I drink them. But if your way is working for you, it doesn't mean that we need to project and tell someone else, this is what you have to eat. Like everyone has to drink green smoothies. I do feel they would benefit pretty much just about anyone unless you have allergies to some kind of greens. But my point is, if we get rigid and we're projecting, that's when we lose our spiritual alignment. So let's say if I'm a spiritual healer and I'm like lashing out at people because they're not doing it the way, then really I'm losing my alignment by doing that. And so the highest focal point for every individual on the planet is to find our own alignment. And we know we're in that place because we're in a place of ease. We feel love, we feel compassion. We are in a space of power, self-empowerment, self-realization. And we don't really need to go and control other people's energy because when we're really in alignment, we see that everyone is finding their own way. Like the people tuning in on this show, I know at some level are drawn to my awareness and my consciousness and that you in some way resonate with what I say or you wouldn't tune in. And if you aren't watching my show, or let's say some of you watch my show and then you're like, oh, she sucks, I don't like her. That's fine, because you're not necessarily the people that I'm meant to connect with. And there may be some other teacher that will deeply connect with you and you will resonate with them better. So there's no really good or bad or right or wrong, but there is a such thing as alignment. And our alignment, we know because we feel good, we feel like we're thriving, we feel love, peace. When we're in a space where we feel anger, where we feel hatred, where we're wanting to get vengeance, where we're, in that very heavy vibration of lack, this is when you know you're out of alignment. It's very simple to tune in and just think, do I feel fear right now or do I feel love? And if you're feeling fear and you're going in a direction in that fear energy, that's what I would caution you to catch that and to tune into that. Like, what is this? Why am I choosing my choices from the space of fear? And look at how it's creating situations in my life. Is it creating beauty? Is it creating drama? Is it creating connection? Or is it creating isolation and separation? And this is where each of us can find our own alignment. And what I say, one of the things I encourage my clients when they come to me is, all of my clients have things going on in their personal life. They all are. They wouldn't be coming to get some help. So some of them may have stuff in their marriage, or they might have drama at work, or maybe there's family members that aren't really respecting them. But the most important thing for each of you is to realize that your power lies in your awareness and your alignment with your source. Your power will never be as effective if you're focusing on how you got to get everybody else to change. If I could just get my mom to respect me or get my husband to understand me, and you can try to project that sense of control, but as soon as we start to do that, that's when we actually lose our alignment with our source. So the highest way to vibrationally inspire others into alignment is living that ourselves. So if I feel good and I take good care of myself and I love myself, it's going to be really easy for me to inspire others into that space just from that alignment. But let's say I don't feel very good, I feel kind of crappy, I eat really crappy, I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm telling people about spiritual advice and how they need to live their life. I'm getting drunk later that night and talking gossipy about all my people in the world that I don't think are aligned. And that is actually how we're losing our alignment. So the most important and powerful focal point for each of us is our own alignment with our source, our own sense of peace, love, and connection. If I feel present and I love myself, it's going to be really easy for me to observe other people's misaligned behavior. They may be really suffering around me, but I don't need to take that personally. I can just send love to them. I see where they're at in their movie. I understand that this is exactly where they need to be in the dance. They need to be in this situation so that this pain can wake them up. They need to go through this loss. They need to be in their ego and just go out of control and lose everything so that they surrender and let spirit help them come into their alignment again. So when we look out, we can see various levels of where humans are on the spectrum of consciousness and how aligned we're living or not. But the most powerful place that we can be is in the space of our own alignment and loving all others as they find their own. And this also means when we're in self-love, we don't let other people just come and like push us around. We can love them and we can see that they need to go through drama to heal, but that drama doesn't need to come into our sacred space, for example. It doesn't need to come and touch my life personally. So this is something that we all will learn as far as balancing. And when we're in a place of healing and self-love, there's a lot of aspects to that. As a healer, there's clients I work with over, the course of years here and there, because they're working on this process of shedding old belief systems. It's, if you kind of think of yourself like the center of an onion is your soul and your realization, your self-realization, your truth. And all these layers upon layers have been packed tightly around you from birth on. And these are belief systems, these are rigid, limitations and ways that humans have projected their power over you. So there comes a time for every soul when there's like a cracking happens. And it's kind of like your onion gets dropped and it cracks. And those layers start kind of wanting to shed. And this is very, it's a very individual process. No one can force anybody in that journey. And it's this gentle process of peeling back those layers of pain and woundedness and cellular memory and all that shedding that needs to happen for a soul to come back to full self-realization of its alignment with its source. And the journey that each of us have walked through has been very strategically chosen from our souls to go through things so we would learn, so that we would call back out for spirit. And I feel that no matter who you are listening, when your soul's calling to you. When I work with my clients, I'll say, what is your soul wanting? Because your soul's calling all the time for some form of expansion. It wants to go and explore, expand, experience. It's got this desire that it's calling for. But your ego part of yourself, the shadow self or the pain body, may be very rigidly trying to control that. Like, no, we can't go and be free. We have to be under this rigid rule system or we'll lose all control. And so fear ultimately will run that human's life, and the soul will keep calling for freedom and expansion. So there's an example how each of you, if you tune into what is my soul saying to me, like what part of my soul is ready to take flight, it's ready to expand, it's ready to explore new territory, go into uncharted places to like understand and learn new lessons and new wisdom. This is something that will never stop because that's evolution. In essence, your soul is constantly in a state of evolution. And when we're trying to suppress that and we have rigid dogma, rigid belief systems, then we really get in the way of our soul's expansion. That is something that could happen so naturally if we got out of our own way. So one of the things, when I was inspired to do the show today on this self-love topic, I was going to call it "It Was Always You." And I heard this song by Maroon 5, and it's a cute song, and my beloved actually was like, "That makes me think of you, baby." And so I was listening to the song, and I'm like, "Aw." But then as I was laying there listening to the song, it's really about a man realizing that this woman was always the one for him, and that he sees it now, even though he's been through struggle, he knows it was always her. And this is the human aspect of the song, but a lot of times when I'm listening to music, I'll hear it not just from like a physical, materialistic love, like human love, but I'll hear the song as if spirit were speaking it to me, and if source were saying, "Hey, it was always you." And so it just brought this different perspective of when we understand the importance of self-love and we choose to come back to that alignment with our source, we'll realize very swiftly, we'll awaken to the truth that it was always you. It was always you that you were waiting for. You were not really waiting for all these other people to love you and appreciate you and see how awesome you are and believe in you and trust in you and, put their faith in you. What really the deepest aspects I feel every soul is going through a process of is to come to this place of self-realization and realize that what you've been waiting for is you. You have been waiting for your own power to show up and to fully align with that power. You've been waiting to access your own courage and to take a stand on things that matter to you. You've been waiting to actually be authentic. Like, actually show the world who you really are instead of who you think the world wants you to be.